Hey guys, what's up? It's me again, Tom from TDT Tom's Tech Time. Today we want to review the all-new DJI Mavic Pro. It's DJI's smallest and most compact drone, and we want to find out if it's DJI's new flagship. By the way, product links pointing at the Mavic Pro itself and at all its accessories can of course be found in the video description right below. Let's get started by taking a look at some of the most important tech specs, and after that we are going to take an in-depth look at the camera, at the safety features and some more. Stay tuned, fly safe.
The Mavic Pro is DJI's most compact drone, and it folds down to 83 by 83 by 198 millimeters, and it weighs less than a kilogram, only 743 grams. There is no need to worry about taking the Mavic Pro aboard an airplane due to its compact size, which is ideal for travelers.
Are you guys curious and want to find out how long it takes from unfolding the DJI Mavic Pro until having it ready to fly? We can just take this for a real test, and I don't even think I will have to fast forward this video, and that is mainly due to one fact, and that is that we can leave the propellers of the DJI Mavic Pro installed to it during transportation. That makes it actually really fast. But let's just not talk too much, but let's get into the process. We're just unfolding the arms. We don't even have to unfold the propellers. The Mavic does that on its own. Turning everything on at the same time. And now let's insert my iPhone perfectly. Let's connect it. Oh, it's already ready to fly, is what it keeps telling me. But I am not ready with my iPhone, so we just keep on counting, and we are done at 36 seconds. I think this is amazing. And right now that we have the drone built up already, let's continue our talk about the Mavic Pro and about its details.
The athletic grayish body of the DJI Mavic Pro is made out of engineering plastic, which is stronger and has better mechanical properties than normal plastic. The material prevents stress cracks from appearing and makes the Mavic Pro more durable and resistant. It basically ensures a longer lifetime, and of course the Mavic Pro can withstand some minor bumps. Even though the Mavic Pro is neither waterproof nor sealed, it is engineered to withstand some fog and moisture and even slight rain showers, as there are no ventilation or other openings at the top of the drone. But don't you take this as a recommendation to fly in rain.
There's one negative thing about the foldable arms that I don't want to hold back, and that is that basically every joint or every link, every movable arm is a possible fracture point. And we have open cables running through the two front arms. But at least DJI, they have added like a net to protect them, which is not an industry standard. So there are plenty of drones on the market. They have open cables running and no protection at all. So I think DJI fixed that. It's not the best of the best, but I think that's what you have to deal with when working with foldable designs. And I think the foldable design of the Mavic Pro is one of its main pros due to the small size.
Before we go in depth, let me briefly point out some of the major highlights of the DJI Mavic Pro. Let's start with a record in the Consumer Drone League. The range of the Mavic Pro extends to incredible 4.3 miles. The live FPV signal can meanwhile be set onto HD or even full HD on shorter distances. But there's more, a maximum speed of up to 40 miles per hour and 27 minutes of flight time, even though DJI is fair and claims the flight time to be around 21 minutes under normal circumstances. A 3D camera-based collision avoidance system, GPS and GLONASS for precise positioning in air, 3 new flight modes I'll be covering later, a 4K 3-axis stabilized camera, an easy-to-use remote controller and app, bottom sensors for indoor flying, and even a live streaming function for YouTube, Facebook and other platforms. Why not taking a short look at it?
Okay, I am live. Maybe you can hear me like that. The Mavic Pro in the sky, broadcasting live to Facebook. I have 0 viewers, 0. Nobody has joined this live stream. Am I disappointed? Oh, somebody is watching the live stream. Hello, 3 viewers. How are you doing?
Okay, let me finish my top highlights list. The Mavic Pro features a return to home function that takes over once you're in trouble. It will ensure a safe and fully automated flight back to the home point. Next to that, the Mavic Pro features the most amazing tracking function with which you can track yourself or your car or a biker or whatever you want, and the cool thing is that you won't need any extra devices or a GPS signal as the system is fully based on camera tracking. For increasing the safety, DJI added a second compass, and for increasing fun, DJI added a gesture mode for selfies. You can even control the Mavic completely without a remote controller.
I wasn't joking, you can seriously take the DJI Mavic Pro for a flight using your cell phone only. And even flying indoors, because I'm going to show this to you right now, right in here, it's another difficulty flying indoors, but due to the sensors at the bottom that we are going to talk about later again, this is possible with the DJI Mavic Pro. And there's only one thing that we have to do before we get up in the sky. We have to open this latch at the side of the DJI Mavic Pro, and we will find one button, and at the one hand side it says RC, remote controller, and on the other hand side it says Wi-Fi. Let's just toggle it over to where it says Wi-Fi, and that is basically the entire preparation. Let's just put it on the ground, turn it on, and while it's booting up, let me open up the Wi-Fi submenu of my phone. And you should know that using the Wi-Fi is limited, of course. You won't have an incredible range. The range is limited to about 80 meters distance and 50 meters height. And realistically, I was able to get or achieve like 50 meters distance away from me. And until then, the signal was pretty strong. And we were connected already. Let's not keep on talking, but let's get the drone up in the sky. And let's just see whether it works out. Slide for takeoff. There we go. You can see how stable it hovers indoors. It has not even a single satellite it's connected to. So this is pretty much incredible. So let's just fly fast forward. No, not too fast. And maybe I can raise height and turn on the camera and rotate and show myself. It's really so intuitive. I mean, this is crazy. I have it flying in here. You can see it. And I can just use the touch screen. I can rotate the drone, change its altitude, or fly it forwards or backwards. I don't know what camera to talk to right now. I have like 3 cameras running. But I think this function is awesome for just, I don't know, having the Mavic in your backpack. If you had nothing seriously planned and you just don't want to carry around the RC with you, let's just land it again. An amazing function, even though I would still get the RC.
The remote controller is small and lightweight, just as the drone itself. The maximum phone length you can use is 160 millimeters. Unfortunately, we cannot attach bigger iPads, not even the iPad mini. The remote controller works with a pretty long-lasting 2970 mAh battery and operates on the 2.4 GHz frequency. Again, the maximum flight distance in the US is about 4.3 miles, which is due to the FCC standard, while in European countries you are limited to around 2.5 miles due to the weaker CE standard. As I am a Swiss guy living and working in Germany, this makes a maximum flight range test superfluous. Sorry. The small monitor of the remote controller gives you all important in-flight informations. You get to see whether you're connected to enough satellites or whether you're using the ATTI mode. You can spot the current power level of both the remote controller and the drone. You can see the distance and height displayed at all times. You can see the current speed and plenty more. Let's cover the buttons that are available. You have the control sticks, the power button. You have a return to home button at the top left corner that you can always click in case of an emergency. Next we find a little joystick named 5D button. It is designed to work with the DJI goggles that I haven't been able to test yet. Next we find a pause button with which you can pause all kinds of mission, as for example tracking flights. And at the side we find a mode switch that you can toggle to enable or disable the super fast sport mode. At the top we find a record button for filming, and right below the gimbal tilt wheel. On the right hand side we find the shutter button for taking photos, and right below a wheel with which you can scroll through your recordings once you have the smartphone attached. Finally, the remote controller features 2 buttons at its back named C1 and C2. You can yourself decide what you want them to do. They can, for example, open up the camera menu or tilt the gimbal all the way up or down. They only function as hotkeys.
Let's right now take a look at the sport mode and take that as an impression. wow, the Mavic is fast and it looks like one of these ships from Star Wars. From the back you only see like this one light and it just flies over there. It's just incredible, it's incredible. And there's one thing that we noticed though, and that is that the camera at the very beginning tips over a little bit, and that is due to the fact that the entire drone is really tipping over a lot when flying super fast in sport mode. And of course that is not the best for filmmaking, but we should keep in mind that the sport mode is for sports and fun only and not really for filmmaking. Right now let's go for a speed test and let's compare 3 top speeds. The top speed of the slow tripod mode for filming, the top speed of the normal flying mode, and the top speed, of course, of the sport mode. Take that.
Let me now unveil the mystery. 2.9 miles per hour was the maximum speed in tripod mode, 33.8 miles per hour was the maximum speed in the normal flying mode, and 39.8 miles per hour was the maximum speed in the sports mode.
If you already fell in love with the DJI Mavic Pro, you can find product links down there in the video description below. But it would be awesome if you would finish this video, because right now we are gonna focus on the camera, which is super important for all of us.
Welcome to the all-new Tom's Tech Time website. Let me show you around. Dozens of how-to videos, reviews, and comparisons are waiting for you. All categorized, all free, all ready to watch. At tomstechtime.com, you're only one click away from our highly viewed segment, The Drone Film School. There you can find video lessons, buyer's guides, and many filmmaking templates. Don't own a drone yet? Click the Deals page and find the hottest offers on the web. And if you already have a drone, enhance its capabilities with the most highly recommended accessories for filmmaking, safety, and a better flying experience. tomstechtime.com, teaching the world how to fly drones.
The tiny camera of the DJI Mavic Pro looks a bit like a toy, but it has massive specs aboard we now want to closely focus on. It features a 1 by 2.3 inch sensor, which is capable of taking photos at a maximum resolution of 4000 by 3000 at 12.35 megapixels, either as a JPEG or DNG RAW file, or both at a time. And talking about photos, you can now shoot high resolution photos in portrait mode as well. The maximum resolution for filming with the Mavic Pro is Cinema 4K at 24 frames per second, which is the cinema standard. At Ultra HD you can record with up to 30 frames per second, and the same number applies to 2.7K. When filming in Full HD, the Mavic Pro's camera can record footage with a maximum of 96 frames per second, and when filming in HD only, you get a maximum of 120 frames per second for creating slow-mos. The Mavic Pro's camera delivers 60 megabits per second. All frame rates and the bitrate are up to date, even though they were not improved. Within the DJI Go app, we have a big but easy to handle menu for further camera settings and picture styles for beginners and professionals both. If you want to find out more about the best camera settings for cinematic results, feel free to check out my tutorial on how to set up the Mavic Pro's camera. A link can be found in the video description below.
The camera of the DJI Mavic Pro has big news aboard. It features a 28mm lens with a field of view of 78.8 degrees, which is awesome because it's really narrow, and I think it's the narrowest consumer drone camera that I have ever seen yet. Because one could basically say that the narrower the field of view of a drone camera, the more cinematic, the more like film does the finally recorded footage look like. And I really adore these cameras, and while DJI started to implement these kinds of cameras, and they even have zoom cameras for other drones right now on the market, we have so many competitors still fighting with fisheye and super wide angle lenses, and I think the 28mm camera is really a big step forward.
The second big change is the focus. With the Mavic Pro, you can select what you want to be sharp and in focus with a touch on the monitor. It does not feature a fixed focus anymore. I understand that at first this will sound a little bit crazy to you and like a burden, but it offers so many new creative possibilities and moves the overall look of the lens towards more professional cameras. And it's really easy to use, but still it's a con that they didn't give us an infinity focus function for fast and fun flying.
DJI applied a major change to the Mavic Pro's lens compared to the other drones made by DJI, and that is the fixed f-stop of 2.2, because most other DJI drones have an f-stop of 2.8. This finally means that the Mavic Pro's lens is the most powerful lens when it comes to nighttime filming, and it is even more powerful than the lenses of the well-known Phantom series.
Talking about nighttime filming, the ISO can be set onto values between 100 for ideal shots until 3200 maximum under low light conditions. The fourth improvement is really awesome. DJI added a so-named tripod mode. It basically slows your Mavic Pro's movements down. What might not sound very much like a big step forward will really enhance your future film projects. From now on, you won't have to worry about too fast and fuzzy action camera-like movements anymore. Create shots that are as smooth as filmed with a big cinema dolly.
While filming with the Mavic Pro, I have experienced 3 more things that I want to share with you. The first one is actually a big pro, and that is that due to the narrower field of view and due to the short length of the propellers, they won't ever show up in your footage. You can fly fast forward, and there will be no more disturbing zooming in post-production just to avoid having them show up in the upper segment of the image. So this is actually pretty cool. And the next one is a con, and that is that due to the small size of the Mavic Pro, of course it is less stable in air than, for example, the bigger brother, the DJI Phantom 4 or the Inspire even. And if you're flying too fast, sometimes we have like what I call micro shake. I'll just take a look at some examples. And that happens maybe during my testing, maybe every 20th shot I had one micro shake during filming. The third thing that I experienced is again something negative, but that is nothing specific for the Mavic. That is like a drone problem, like most drones have that problem, and that is that once the propellers are spinning and you are flying in a certain angle to the sun, we have like the shadows of the spinning propellers showing off in the footage. That looks kind of disturbing. Just take a look at some examples again. And I would just hope that DJI at some point invents or starts selling like a small lens cap or something that we can just attach to the lens that would already fix the problem. And in case that doesn't work, I think we have to live with that problem because that doesn't appear very often. But I still wanted to mention it.
Let's take a look at some test footage again, this time ungraded and untouched. Everything is sharp as it should be, if we don't forget to focus manually, of course. Otherwise, it might be unsharp. When taking a closer look at one of the edges, which usually are the weak spots of lenses, we can see that the image looks a little less sharper, but that loss of quality is completely normal. I must say that the DJI Mavic Pro creates footage that is just as sharp as the footage of other DJI consumer drones. Sometimes other drone footage might look a bit sharper, but that is due to digital sharpening that you can apply right within the Go app or on the computer, which I don't recommend though, as an over-sharpened image does not really give us a filmic feeling. Over-sharpened images to me look like action cameras rather than big broadcasting systems.
2 final words on the camera of the DJI Mavic Pro. The first one is the con, and that is actually that this plastic cap, this bubble, is really not well made. They should redesign that and maybe even throw out a new one that just fits and sits right on the camera so it doesn't cause any glares or flares to be within the recorded footage. That would be really nice, because having the protection is something really cool. But finally, I wanted to say that I even like the style of this camera better than the style, for example, of the very famous DJI Phantom 4, due to the narrower look and due to the fact that we can now manually focus, even though people will have to get used to that, and the aperture is better. I think I really like this tiny small camera. I mean, it's smaller than my eye, or the same size, something like that.
The DJI Mavic Pro features quite a few intelligent flight modes. Let's just take a closer look at them, even though I'm only going to rush through, as otherwise, if I would go in depth, this would take another 45 minutes.
In gesture mode, you can autonomously take selfies. You don't even need to hold the remote controller in your hands anymore. You just wave at the Mavic, perform a gesture, and the picture will be taken only seconds after. Point of interest is a great tool for cinematic movements. You can fly perfect circles around obstacles fully autonomously and have the camera point at the center of the frame meanwhile. Of course, you have various speed settings, you can fly clockwise or anti-clockwise, etc. In active track mode, the drone will follow you around. It keeps you in focus at all times and tracks you with the camera. You won't need any extra devices, such as GPS wristbands, the remote controller, or whatsoever. The collision avoidance system keeps the Mavic Pro safe and can even navigate it around obstacles meanwhile. The terrain follow mode works together with active track. It basically ensures that while you are running or biking or driving up a hill with the Mavic Pro following you, it won't crash into the rising ground. It will hold its altitude above the ground level even in difficult terrain. Follow Me mode is the little brother of active track. It makes the drone follow around your phone's and remote controller's signal. It is fully GPS based, which makes it a weaker tracking tool than active track by far. It's neither precise nor very useful due to the minimum height of 10 meters. You think the tree in the back looks interesting? Just tap at it, and in tap fly mode, the Mavic Pro flies there on its own. Life can be that simple. The home lock mode is an older safety feature with which you can easily get your drone back to your position once you lost orientation in air but are still connected without the need of activating the return to home. The waypoints feature allows you to record a flight route and refly it later. This can be helpful if you need to perform a crazy camera movement. While the Mavic flies the route, you can rotate the drone, change the gimbal tilt and create the perfect shot. Unfortunately, we cannot set a flight route on a map, it's a plain reflying tool only. Finally, there is Course Lock, it's my favorite mode. Of course, there is a tutorial of mine showing and explaining you all its details. It basically allows the drone to fly straight lines while you rotate the drone. This allows you to create cinematic shots with ease once you understand how to use it wisely.
Let's right now take a closer look at the intelligent flight battery of the DJI Mavic Pro.
The intelligent flight battery of the DJI Mavic Pro has a total capacity of 3,830 mAh. It features 2 fast release knobs at the side, a power button and 4 LED power indicators at its top. Throughout my testing, I was able to measure average flight and charging time values that I now want to share with you. When hovering only, the battery lasts around 20 minutes and 44 seconds. And when going for an average flight that includes some flying in the sport mode, filming, location spotting, etc., it lasts even longer, approximately 21 minutes and 38 seconds, which is half a minute more than what DJI promised us. Charging an intelligent flight battery took me exactly 1 hour, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, going from 15 to a full 100%. If we take a look at the charger itself, we see that it features 2 USB ports, which is pretty cool, as we do not have to carry around an extra charger for the remote controller, and of course we can use an Android charging cable. Talking about the remote controller, charging the RC took me exactly 1 hour, 52 minutes and 4 seconds, again charging it from 15 up to a full 100%.
Let's right now talk about safety, and I know that this topic is a little bit dry, even though I will try to keep it as entertaining as possible, even though we should keep in mind that safety first should be our motto, because we just don't want to hurt people, and next to that we have invested more than $1,000 on our drone and we just don't want to waste it. The first little bit of extra safety is the second compass that DJI installed right into the body of the DJI Mavic Pro. And having a second compass is something really important, because flyaways now belong to the past almost completely, because usually the compass is in charge for the flight directions and we shouldn't confuse it, but that happens from time to time. And with a dual compass, as with the DJI Phantom 4, this makes the compass rock steady, which means that if one compass fails, the system is just going to use the second compass. Secondly, we have to talk about the return to home function, which is really important and of course built in to the Mavic Pro as well. It basically means that once you're up in the sky and you're losing the signal from the remote controller or something else happens, you won't lose your drone, because the drone is simply going to autonomously return to the home point. And usually the home point is the takeoff position. But the cool thing is that you can change the home point's location through your smartphone as well. This is pretty cool. You can have, for example, the home point following you around the position of your remote controller and smartphone. For example, if you're on a moving platform like a boat or something, this can be really helpful. Or you can just reset the home point to any location that you want. And there is another thing that we should keep in mind, which is the return to home altitude. And some other drones still have problems with the return to home altitude, but it's really important. Just keep in mind you're flying back to the home point and there is like a huge obstacle in the way. What happens? The drone might crash. Even though I can already tell you that we have obstacle avoidance as well. But technically it would crash and then fall down. We can, before every flight, just set a new return to home altitude. For example, if I'm flying around normal trees, I just set 40 meters to be the return to home altitude, which is absolutely fine. The drone raises its height and just returns and lands safely at the home point. Now that I have already mentioned the obstacle avoidance, let's just cover it as well. We have two front-facing cameras that give us a front flying obstacle avoidance. So there are no sensors at the side or at the back, which is a little con, but still we have like the two cameras at the front. They work at daytime only. Keep in mind that during nighttime it's just too dark for them to see any obstacles, to spot anything. So you can use them during daytime flying, and they really do their job quite well, and they do their job better than I even thought. Just take a look at the app. We have like a bar at the top of the app, and that pops up once it detects an obstacle. And even though we can try to fly forward as fast as we can, but the drone will just stop and hover. So there is no chance or possibility to continue our flight. And for example, if we have the drone following us in active track mode or something like that, we can set the obstacle avoidance sensors to make the drone stop in front of obstacles and then fly around these obstacles to continue the active track. This is actually pretty cool. The maximum range is about 15 meters, which is fine for normal fast flying, but of course you cannot use the obstacle avoidance sensors in sport mode. That would just be too fast, because the stopping distance, 15 meters, would just be too short for sport mode. After pilot errors, I think battery failures are one of the main reasons why drones still crash, and I think we can avoid those crashes with the DJI intelligent flight batteries quite well, as these batteries really deserve the title intelligent. Just take a look at the Go app, open up the menu, tap at battery, and you will find many information, all broadcasting live to your phone. And it's just amazing how much information we get. And we can, for example, set everything ourselves. When, for example, we want to have the notification to pop up for the low battery warning appearing. It's just incredible how much real-time information we get, how much information we get on the battery's health, etc. It's just amazing. I think the most important feature made by DJI to the intelligent flight batteries is the so-called smart return to home, and you should definitely have that enabled. It basically means that normal drones just fly away, and at some certain level, for example 15%, they notify you and say, okay, I am low on power, you should return. But what happens if you at that point are too far away? You just won't make it safely back home, and if you're overseas or whatsoever, you might just have a crashed drone, and we just don't want to have that. And the smart return to home feature kind of takes over, because it in real time calculates all the data. It calculates how far you are away and how much battery life is left. And depending on that, at some point it will tell you you need to return home. Now, even if you are, for example, still having like, I don't know, 40% power left, but you will otherwise not make it back home safely, and you can At that point, either let the drone take over and return to home automatically, or you can cancel that and take over yourself and land yourself. This is like a really good tool and a lifesaver. Okay guys, I think we have seen the Mavic Pro from the front too many times. Let's just take a look at its bottom, and at the bottom we find plenty sensors, and these sensors are called VPS. Altogether they make the vision positioning system, and this system is really cool, and it works up to a height of about 10 meters, which is really strong. And it basically consists out of 2 sonar sensors. They will help the Mavic Pro, when flying low to the ground, keep its altitude, which means that it won't just drop or raise its height. It will just hold the drone on a steady level. It's really working well. You saw that when I was flying in the studio before. And now flying in the studio, talking of that, flying indoors without GPS and GLONASS, this basically means that the drone usually would drift around. But these 2 bottom sensors avoid that from happening, because these 2 bottom sensors are cameras, and they just track the ground. They just look for a clear pattern, and if they can find a pattern, which most of the time during normal daylight happens, and they just track some specific points. For example, if the remote controller would be lying on the ground, it would now track the remote controller and it would just hover right above and keep its position. It's really a powerful tool, and I think for indoor flying it's a must. Have you heard of GPS and GLONASS? Probably of GPS. But the Mavic Pro even supports the Russian system. It's basically satellite systems, and with those satellites, the Mavic Pro can locate its position and always hover steadily, even if there are stronger winds outdoors or something like that. You might have seen that the Mavic Pro is pretty solid in air, and that is due to the capability of receiving a GPS and a GLONASS signal at the same time, which means that the Mavic Pro can lock up to 20 satellites all at once. And this is a big pro, as most other drones only have a GPS connection, and this baby supports the Russian system as well. Another big safety topic is the app that we're using. And I have seen super weak apps, for example, the one made by Unique for the Typhoon H, but I think DJI is far ahead of the competition when it comes to the app. And that is simply because they are using like the same app for all their products, which not only is very comfortable to the users, because we just don't have to learn everything from the start on when we get a new drone, but basically we have so few bugs and we have such a powerful system because the system is already experienced. The Go app, for example, supports the Phantom 4, the Phantom 3, the Inspire, the Mavic, the Osmo. So many products are already working on the DJI Go app, and I think now that the Mavic is added to it as well is a big pro, and you are working on a very well working app that works fine on iOS and on Android, even though iOS always tends to work a little better. Are you still afraid of crashing your drone? Even though I can really tell you it's kind of hard with the Mavic Pro. It just has so many sensors and the intelligent app and all the sensors at the bottom and stuff. But still, if you are afraid, and I can understand that, especially as a beginner, you should spend the 99 extra bucks on the DJI Care, which basically means that if you crash your Mavic Pro into something, DJI will replace it up to 2 times, and all the details on the DJI Care, there is a link on that in the video description below. You can check it out yourself, and if you're a beginner, you might just purchase that as well, even though I personally did not purchase it until now, but that's up to you.
We are not done yet, but let's come to a first conclusion. I really did not like the plastic bubble. I think DJI should build a new one that doesn't create such bad light streaks and reflections. Even though the new manual focus is a plus to me, I still miss an infinity or autofocus function. This should be fixed somehow. Next, I must list that it's a little sad that there aren't any official holders for iPads or bigger monitors available, even though I'm pretty sure you will find plenty 3D printed ones soon. Maybe take a look at my must-have gadgets page as well, tomstechtime.com/gadgets. Still, as with the famous DJI Phantom 4, I'm missing a full 360 degrees obstacle avoidance system. And finally, I think DJI should enhance photo resolutions and give us higher frame rates for high quality slow-mos in the future. On the other hand, we now have the pros. The size is absolutely incredible, it really fits into every bag or bigger pocket, and this is like a dream to travelers. The tripod mode is insanely powerful and will make your aerial videos look a lot more professional. A small change for DJI, but a big step for filmmakers, so to say. The maximum range is awesome, even though I personally do not really need it. The narrow field of view of the camera offers a look that reminds us of real film cameras so much more than all the other wide-angle drone lenses available. And next, the VPS bottom sensors do their job awesomely. You can really fly in areas with 0 satellites without a problem, and the hovering accuracy is insane again. The Wi-Fi mode is pretty handy for fast and on-the-go shooting, and active track and terrain following really change the way that drones can autonomously follow people. A powerful tool that I wouldn't want to miss. The Go app with all its settings and sharing and editing possibilities is until today the most powerful drone app you can install. Finally, even though you might not want to hear it, I need to say that the pricing tag is really fair if you compare the Mavic Pro to drones manufactured by other companies. This is the most powerful compact drone I have ever seen, and it costs only slightly more than some of its competitors, even though it offers 3 times as many functions and features as the others.
My final conclusion on the DJI Mavic Pro: I think to drone enthusiasts it's just a must-have, and even to filmmakers like myself. I was pretty critical with it at the beginning, I must say, because I just thought that the tiny small camera just couldn't keep up with the bigger cameras as we know them from the DJI Phantom 4 or 3, for example. But I think the narrower field of view is just a game changer, and if you only aim to create the most beautiful aerials, you should go with these big drones. And of course, portability. No, let's not talk about portability when it comes to these big drones. And I think the DJI Mavic Pro just does the job just fine. Of course, it has some cons as well to it. I think there has not been a perfect drone yet, but I think I'm in love with it. And I'm just gonna fold it now. Saying bye-bye, by the way, product links can of course be found in the video description below. And the hottest DJI deals at tomstechtime.com/deals if you want to purchase one yourself now. Well, I'm just gonna take mine, pack it in my little bag, and just enjoy another flight. Stay tuned, fly safe.
Thank you for watching this episode of Tom's Tech Time. Feel free to subscribe to never ever miss any upcoming episodes, and of course, feel free to leave a thumb up to show your support. And if you want to support my work, check out tomstechtime.com/donate. You cannot only donate, but there is a free way of how to support Tom's Tech Time. You can read through that stuff if you think I should continue creating awesome videos, comparisons, how-tos and stuff. Yeah, and finally, I can invite you to Facebook, facebook.com/group/Tom's Tech Time if you want to join the greatest drone community on the globe. And what is there left to say? Of course, you can check out the hottest Mavic deals at tomstechtime.com/deals. And finally, that was it. And right now, I just want to enjoy another flight. And yeah, I'm just going to turn the camera off for now. 14 days filming, that was a lot. And I would, of course, appreciate your support. Thanks. Stay tuned. Fly safe.
Welcome to the all-new Tom's Tech Time website. Let me show you around. Dozens of how-to videos, reviews, and comparisons are waiting for you. All categorized, all free, all ready to watch. At tomstechtime.com, you're only one click away from our highly viewed segment, The Drone Film School. There you can find video lessons, buyer's guides, and many filmmaking templates. Don't own a drone yet? Click the Deals page and find the hottest offers on the web. And if you already have a drone, enhance its capabilities with the most highly recommended accessories for filmmaking, safety, and a better flying experience. tomstechtime.com, teaching the world how to fly drones.